Social comparison is a root cause of many of our discomforts. Neighbor buys a BMW or a professional colleague gets the recognition that you want for yourself. All these kinds of things can create envy in us. In fact, social comparison is so important to us that studies show that if people are given a choice, either they can have a very luxurious, comfortable, good life, but they will be at the bottom of the social ladder, versus they don't have as much, the life is not as comfortable, but they are at the top of the social ladder. A lot of people will choose to be at the top of the social ladder. They will give up a lot of good things in life because we tend to compare ourselves. Even rich people don't really feel so rich because they are constantly comparing themselves with people who have even more. So envy is a common human feeling that burns us. But can we use this for enhancing our life? How do we actually reach a psychologically healthier situation or position and use this feeling of envy to, in fact, enhance our life? I have 3 tips for you to do that. Tip number 1 is get inspired. If you are feeling envious of someone, that means you have some potential for getting to where that person seems to be. Think about what you want to do, how you want to work harder or maybe differently, or to change your goals a little bit. All these kinds of things actually you can explore and find out when you feel envy. So envy can be, in fact, inspirational. And maybe the reason evolution has actually given us this potentially negative and destructive feeling of envy is, in fact, because we want to use it as inspiration. Keep it under check and use it to know yourself better and what path you want to take and how you want to proceed on this path. So, inspiration. Tip number 2, there is an antidote to feeling of envy and social comparison. Because envy can be a potentially negative and destructive feeling, we don't want that part of envy. We want only the inspiration part of envy. And as a result, when you do feel envy, in order to have an antidote, what you want to do is practice sympathetic joy. There are meditations you can practice in order to cultivate the habit of sympathetic joy. What that means is to appreciate and to feel genuine happiness when someone else achieves something, either success or get something that they want. Appreciation and having a genuine sharing sense of happiness, that is called sympathetic joy. If you practice sympathetic joy meditations, they will take you typically through 2 steps. Step number 1, you must first recognize your own strengths, your own source of joy, your own things in your own life, and rejoice those. Rejoice your own life, your own achievements and sources of joy. And then turn your attention towards the person you are feeling envious about, and then consciously rejoice in their happiness. Share their happiness and see if you can genuinely, consciously experience happiness for them. If you want to actually meditate using sympathetic joy, on my YouTube channel To Meditate, there is a meditation on sympathetic joy that you can follow. And otherwise, also in many other teachers' voices, you will find meditations on sympathetic joy. But think about this idea of consciously sending happiness or genuinely feeling happy for the other person when you feel envious. But remember, first you must recognize the source of joy in your own life. Tip number 3 is to recognize that certain situations are particularly hard when it comes to experiencing sympathetic joy when someone else is successful or is experiencing the joy that you would like for yourself. These situations are if the person who gets it is, let's say, arrogant or has some characteristic that you really do not like, maybe a show off, or maybe you think that this person got their success by unethical means, that they don't really deserve it. Or a third possible situation is that this person has hurt you in the past, and as a result, to experience sympathetic joy for them feels like maybe condoning what they did to you, or not to have, or it is like a trigger or a memory of what you experience with this person, which makes it really hard to experience or to share their joy or happiness in a genuine way. When this happens, first of all, take a pause and recognize that it's really hard to do that at the moment, and you don't feel that good about it. Take a pause and say that to yourself, I'm having a hard time experiencing or sharing their joy because of these things. And then do one thing. Think about the characteristics that this person has that you think may have been instrumental in reaching this success. And you can send admiration for these characteristics. You can also think about, in some way, these characteristics may inspire you. But most importantly, if you are having a hard time feeling genuinely happy for their success, you can definitely send them admiration in your mind for their characteristics or strengths. And that way, the burning of envy will be reduced. And the acting out that sometimes happens because of envy, like maybe gossiping, spreading rumors, playing games, and all these kinds of things that in the end get us in trouble, which we do want to avoid. This can be avoided if you genuinely understand your own admiration for this person's strengths. And do not forget to understand your own strengths and your own source of joy as well. So with all this, I hope you can deal with social comparison in an inspiring and positive way instead of the negative, destructive aspect of envy.